Okay, let's just get right into the old business here. As Barbara pointed out, we did have a very successful Belknap County Lincoln Day Sunset Cruise. We had over 350 tickets sold for the cruise. We had 328 people on board, which was a good-sized crowd. Based on feedback from various people, I understand the food was better than it was last year, which I'm pleased to hear. I also got some very good positive reviews about the entertainment on both decks. So all in all, it was a pretty good cruise. And I will point out that, in fact, we were charging less than what the going price was for that cruise. Okay. Moving along, we do have the primary coming up on Tuesday, September 9th. Very important that everybody plans on voting. Most important that each of you talk this up with your friends, your relatives, anyone nearby, because the most important thing during the primary is turnout. Oftentimes, primaries do not garner a lot of people coming out to vote, and what sometimes happens is the candidate that isn't necessarily going to be the best candidate ends up winning because they've done a really good job of getting people out there. So what's most important is that we need to get as many people out there as we can to vote so that we have the true candidate that the electorate would like to see win that election, whoever that may be. As you know, I have to remain neutral on this. I have no candidate favorites. As long as we have a Republican winning in November, that's the single most important goal. So anyway, I do want to point out that as far as Governor, U.S. Senate, and Congress, there are quite a few more candidates than what you may have heard. For Governor, I believe there are actually 4 different candidates. For U.S. Senate, there's something like 8 or 10 candidates. For Congress, there's more than Frank Pinta and Dan Innes in District 1. There's more than Marilinda Garcia and Gary Lambert in District 2. By the way, Center Harbor is the only town in Belknap County that is part of District 2. We have some interesting different districts for all the different seats. We've also got, we'll cover that in just a moment, about what it means to be a delegate and how you become a delegate. Between now and that point, we're not planning on having actual platform committee meetings. We're going to be doing it at the county meetings and the city meetings and the town meetings. So at the August meeting, I'll be looking for more feedback from you. This is a terrible microphone. I'll be looking for more feedback from you. If you've got something that you want to send to me via email, then by all means, then we can talk about it at the August meeting. Okay. Our September meeting will actually be shortly before it's actually the day after the primary. So technically, it's going to be a little bit late at that point to try to get any changes from people here. Okay, Kevin.
Are you saying there's not actually going to be a platform committee this year? It's just going to be drafted by the vice chair?
No, it's not. The platform committee is comprised of the area vice chair.
That's a big deviation of the way it's been done in the past.
That's true. It is different. However, it's not going to be drafted by the area vice chairs. It's going to be a matter of bringing all of your suggestions into the committee.
But the area vice chairs are the ones, if we make a suggestion that's rejected by the area vice chairs, it's not going to make it into. So, in essence, the committee, the platform committee is the area vice chairs, the establishment of the body.
As it stands right now, we're not planning on rejecting anything as it stands right now. That doesn't necessarily mean that we won't. In other words, if there are some things that look absolutely frivolous, then we're going to weigh in on those things. But anything that has any form of merit, I would like to see handled in a way that at the state convention we'll be reviewing them and voting on them. There's a possibility that we may put amendments out earlier than that to try to get feedback, but we're going to play that by ear.
Yeah, but my biggest concern is, I mean, you go to the convention, we've all been there, that, you know, it can go on for hours for the amendment process. Yeah. If there's not grassroots people on the ground outside the establishment that has a say in this, you know, it's just going to be a long, drawn-out process.
Well, Kevin, you will have a say in this, and that's why
I'm not talking about me, I don't really
No,
care.
but I understand
Nobody
that.
follows it anyhow.
Okay, the question was, are the area vice chairs going to be the ones who are going to say which amendments are going to be presented to the committee, at the convention, or are people out there in the grassroots going to have the opportunity to weigh in on all of these things? And what I'm saying here is that we're going to be receiving all of these potential amendments to the platform. We'll be reviewing them, and it's my opinion that only those that appear to be totally frivolous, that all others will be considered. Granted, we do run the risk of having a very long-running convention on September 20th, or whatever the date may be, if we get a lot of different amendments. Well, I'm sure many will be similar, and we'll be combining them into what appears to be hitting all of the salient points for a particular topic. Okay. Any other questions? Explain what the story is with delegates at the convention. We have two different ways of being elected to be a delegate, a voting delegate at the state convention. One way is if you're running for an office, let's say for state representative, and you're in a primary on September 9th, and you win your primary, you win your seat, at least for the primary, not only are you going on to the November election, but you're also going to be able to serve as a delegate at the state convention. The other thing is that each town is designated with X number of delegates. Many towns are identified as having only one seat as a delegate. There are a few towns that have 2 or more seats in Belknap County. The people who prevail in the primary, who have signed up to run for delegate, are the ones who will also get a vote at the convention. So that's how it all works. At this point, if you've already signed up to run for a delegate, or you've already signed up to run for a state representative seat, or senate, or commissioner, or anything like that, and you prevail, then as I said, you'll be a delegate. There is the capability to do write-ins as well. If let's say you weren't aware of this, you can always talk to your friends, neighbors, relatives, and ask them to write your name in on the write-in line on the ballot, the Republican ballot, for delegate. As long as you get 10 votes or 10% of the total number of votes cast for all the delegates, for anybody who ran for delegate in your town, whichever is larger, then you will be identified as having been named a delegate, and you'll be notified by the Secretary of State. And I want to reiterate that. Unless you're identified by the Secretary of State and notified that you're a delegate, then you're not. If you feel that you are, you need to make sure you get in touch with the Secretary of State as soon as you can after the primary and let them know that you think a mistake has been made. It's their final decision. Okay? Any questions about delegates and about the convention? Okay. How about legislative and county updates? We've got a number of legislators here. We also have people from the county, well, at least state representatives who are familiar with the county. I don't think we have any county commissioners here tonight. Would anybody like to speak to that? Sam? Sam Cataldo, State Senator from District 6.
Thank you, Bob. If I may, I'm just going to give you a little rundown of what happened. I was at a caucus this past Tuesday, and we went over the accomplishments of the state senate. One of the things we talked about was jobs in the economy. By reducing the regulations and cutting taxes and improving our business climate, the Senate helped to reduce New Hampshire's unemployment rate from 5.8% down to 4.4%, and well below the national average in the United States. We also used model legislation to review the state's corporate structures to improve the usability of the business infrastructure. Very important what we do in the Senate, by the way. We do think business and small business. We also talk about lowering the taxes. Lowering the tax, my voice carries anyway. Even that back to the church, they complain that's not they can hear. We required the department later to warn the company before assessing hefty fines. One of the things we talked about, I'm on the Commerce Committee, we're on 3 committees in the Senate, not in 1. We talked about equal pay for women and men. You hear that happening across the country a lot today from the Democrats. You'll see the Democrats wearing 77, a little badge, which means 77 cents of the dollar is what a woman gets paid versus a man. That's a crock. I'm going to be honest when I say that. Women today in New Hampshire get the same pay as a man does. When they start talking CEOs, that's just the beginning. You'll barter for what you want to pay. And the thing I brought up in the committee was, I'm going to go back to 1981. I was a project manager in the digital business down in New Jersey, shift supervisor. My wife made the same pay as the other technicians. Same pay. That was 1981. So you can see the game that the Democrats are playing. Be aware of that. They get equal pay throughout this country. State budget and taxes responsibly balanced the state budget. We did that. I got to go back to when I was a representative a few years back. We had 101 fees and taxes the Democrats put in. 2009, 2010, we reduced it from 101 taxes down to 53. If we had come back again and won the House, we would run it down to 0. One of the things I was concerned about was, one, I had a motorhome when I was on the road for 23 years. Meals and room taxes, you're going to have to pay that. You drive into a campground, you're going to pay meals and room tax. You're nuts. That's a campground. But you got a motorhome that has all the meals and everything inside of it. So we killed that one right off the bat. So that's one of the things we talk about. Those who are running, I have handed out to some of the representatives who are running already. Get in touch with me later on. I have the talking points right here. Give me your email. I'll mail it to you. I have the whole thing written down with the correction, by the way, from the one of the words that computer didn't pick up on. It had to be on the word economy for 2 C's in there on me. And thanks for catching that, by the way. But anyway, see me later. If you want a copy of it, I'll give it to you, email it to you. And that'll be your talking point when you run. Thank you. Thank you, Sam.
Do we have anyone who wants to talk about anything going on with the legislature or with the county? Okay. Let me just go digress back to the delegate. I want to tell you how many delegates we have in each of the towns here in Belknap County. It's very quick here. Alton has 2 delegates, Barnstead 1, Belmont 2, Center Harbor 1, Guilford 2, Gilmanton 1, Laconia has 5, Meredith has 2, New Hampton has 1, Sanderton has 1, and Tilton has 1. And I do know that we do not have people signed up for delegate in all of the towns. So if you simply go to the Secretary of State's site, you can find out if for your town anybody has even signed up, or you can just ask me. I've got the information tucked away in here. I'll be more than happy to tell you. Sure.
Yes. Minor correction, Meredith and Guilford are in District 4, not 2 and 2.
Yes.
So all can come from either town, whatever combination.
Right. So
Oh, you say delegates?
I was talking about delegates.
I'm sorry, I thought
Yeah.
you were...
No, I'm talking about delegates. Okay.
Croc TV.